All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Buckle up, ski, because I got a lot of stuff for you. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about how Joe Biden is kind of trying to out-Trump Donald Trump. Curious what all you guys think about that strategy. It's kind of like the opposite of the Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high idea. So we'll dive into that. We also have the complete and total takeover of the RNC by the Trump campaign is seemingly complete. They're going to divert all that money right back to themselves. And you know what? They fucking need it with all of his legal problems, so there's a lot to say about that. Then we'll get to Fox and Friends has a love affair with John Fetterman. They decide to give him a smooth hand job on air and a bubble bath. And then later on, Trump openly talks about cooing the Cuban government if he gets back in office. And Charlie Kirk goes all the way back to 1700s style racism. You're not going to want to miss that segment. Wait until you see what he has to say about Haiti. So we'll jump into it all in just a second. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. Helps out so much in the algorithm. Doesn't cost you anything at all. And we're trying to get to that 10 million subs number so I can add to these beautiful, big, beautiful plaques that I have behind me. Honestly, I don't know if we'll ever get to 10 million, but the way you build it is one at a time, so hook a brother up with that. And much love and appreciation. Thank you to everybody who supports this channel on Patreon. You could help out below, $5 a month or whatever it is, or tip on YouTube with the thanks button. I've never talked to an advertiser, so you guys are the ones who really help fund this show from the ground up, and I'm deeply, deeply appreciative of that. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it here. So Mediaite had this article that came out the other day. Biden brutally roasts broke Don over his crushing debt. So this video here is actually not that clip. Here, I will play it for you anyway, but this is him talking about how he doesn't like the impact that Trump has had on the body politic and something about a kid.
Because the soul of the country is who we are. Look, did you ever think, those of you who are over 40, did you ever think we'd be in a situation where we talk to each other like we talk these days? Why you see things that we see that no matter how tense things were, and they're really tough in other parts of our history. When you ride down the street and there's a Trump banner with a FU on it and a 6-year-old kid putting up his middle finger. Did you ever see? No, I'm serious. Did you ever think you'd hear people talk the way they do? Look, it demeans who we are. That's not who America. That's not America. Those of us who want to pull America back into the past and those who want to move it into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace the future. I mean it sincerely. Freedom, democracy, a future based on the core values that have defined America. Honesty, decency, fairness, equality. Just treating people just fairly.
I don't know how I feel about still doing the whole civility and decorum tap dance in 2024. Look, he's arming and funding Israel as they try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. It's hard to then turn around and be like, look at the words that we use to each other, bro. Even the kids are giving the finger now, bro. So it's kind of hard to take it seriously. You could also say that in 2016, Hillary tried this strategy of the finger wagging, and he's beyond the pale, and look at what do you say to our kids to have somebody this filthy and disgusting leading the country. It didn't work in 2016. I mean, to be fair, it did kind of work in 2020. Part of Biden's campaign then was like, really? This fucking guy? Look at how insane he is. The whole Charlottesville thing, he based his campaign on that. So I don't know. It's worked at times. It's not worked at times. But it's also a little bit of a contradiction to, at the same time, you're bemoaning the loss of civility and decorum. You bring out the nickname Broke Don, right? So I don't know. Look, I'll say this. I was never a fan of the when they go low, we go high idea. And to be fair, this is not that. This is the opposite of when they go low, we go high. But it is also like you're trying to out-Trump Trump. And I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if it's possible to do that. I think it requires a different strategy and approach. So here, I'll go to the main quote. President Joe Biden and his campaign roasted former President Donald Trump, dubbing him Broke Don and mocking him at a campaign event as begging for relief from Biden. On the heels of reports that Biden wants to go for Trump's jugular on a more aggressive basis, the president twisted what is seen as an especially jagged knife. Trump is desperately trying and failing to raise a $460 million fraud appeal bond, while also trailing Biden badly in the fundraising department. Now, by the way, the update on this, and we covered this the other day, now he only needs to pay $175 million. I believe he was offered a $100 million bond, so he'd only need to put up $75 million. I don't know if he has that cash on hand. He might have to liquidate. He might get a loan from a billionaire. I know there's just some sort of deal with True Social that happened where he's going to have effectively $3 billion in equity in that company. So it looks like he'll find a way to pay it, even though it's still going to hurt. It just requires him selling out even more to some right-wing billionaire. But so the facts on that have changed a little bit. At a private campaign reception this week, Biden went hard at Trump before an audience in Dallas, mentioning the former president dozens of times. In one cutting section, the president drew laughs with a vivid portrayal of Trump. But look, I know not everyone is feeling the enthusiasm. Just the other day, a defeated-looking man came up to me and said, "Mr. President, I have crushing debt, and I'm completely wiped out." And I had to look at him and say, "Donald, I'm sorry. I can't help you." I thought about it, but I just couldn't do it. Towards the end of the speech, Biden deployed his favorite epithet for Trump. Look, let me close with this. The stakes couldn't be higher across the board, but with your help, we're going to win and put down, up and down the ticket. That includes here in Texas, electing Colin Allred instead of Ted Cruz. I like to see him join Donald Trump as a loser. The Biden-Harris campaign also got in on the act, appropriating Trump's penchant for simple nicknames by dubbing him Broke Don in a blistering campaign memo. Not a winning campaign. Broke Don hides in his basement. Trump can't raise money, isn't campaigning, and is letting convicts and conspiracy theorists run his campaign. We have questions for the political pundits and prognosticators regarding Republican candidate for President Donald Trump and his general election strategy. And they go through, he's not raising any money, lack of funding, blah, 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 blah. You guys get the gist of it. So my question for you is, are you more of the belief Michelle Obama was right, when they go low, we go high? Or are you more of the belief, nah, take the gloves off and go aggressive? And then beyond that, what do you think of the nickname? Because look, I have to say, every now and then the resistance liberals cook up something solid as fuck. And the other day they came up with Don Corleone. And I know it's goofy, I know it's cheesy, but hey, so are Trump's nicknames, and those seem to work. I don't know, I kind of like Don Corleone more, man. Don Corleone has a ring to it. I think I like that a little bit better than Broke Don, but anyway, I'm curious what all you guys think of it. Look, to me, we've gone through this a million times, but I want to reiterate it because it's actually really important in terms of how Biden should run going forward. There needs to be 3 essential parts to a campaign for it to work. Number 1, he has to be able to highlight how Trump is terrible and Trump is beyond the pale. That should be easy, right? 91 criminal charges, tried to overthrow the last election, cut taxes for the rich, deregulated Wall Street, ripped up the Iran agreement, tried to coup Venezuela. We can go on and on and on and on. You guys know the whole list of horrible policies. But that's one thing. He's got to wrap up. Like, he's got to get some tight talking points down on how Trump is terrible, the specific way in which Trump is terrible. I mean, just the thing about how he said he wants to terminate the Constitution, suspend the Constitution, that alone should be in every single fucking ad. He's got to do that. Then he's got to do the I'm awesome, here's what I've done stuff. Again, in theory, that shouldn't be all that difficult in terms of pointing to the CHIPS Act, in terms of pointing to the infrastructure bill, and pointing to the good provisions of the IRA. There's a number of things. Creating 800,000 manufacturing jobs. Should have the talking points down on that front. He doesn't, right? Like, we know more about this than he does in terms of the talking points we can give. And then the last part, which they haven't done, and I'm afraid they're never going to do, is here's what we're going to do with the second term. Whatever it may be. I keep saying you should copy the Democratic governors who are wiping out medical debt across the country. That's something we've seen a number of Democratic governors do now. In Arizona, they did it. In Connecticut, they're doing it. They're just saying no more medical debt for anybody living. We're going to wipe it all out. If they could do that, and by the way, it's pennies on the dollar are the deals that they're cutting to wipe out the debt. Biden can wipe out all the medical debt in the country. 41% of the country has medical debt. Wipe it out. Wipe it out. So that's just one idea, but there's a million things. They need those 3 things. Outside of that, I like the idea of going aggressive. I like the idea of saying he's beyond the pale. I would just workshop that Broke Don shit a little bit. I feel like it's not as stinging as it needs to be. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.